Dominic Alafacci is here with his beautiful dog, Digby. What sort of dog is Digby, Dominic?
He's a Japanese Spitz.
A Japanese
Most
Spitz.
beautiful dog in the world.
He's a beauty, isn't he? And he's a Collingwood supporter because you watched the replay last night.
And when I came back from the game, I thought I'd watch the replay.
Watch it all again.
To complain about the umpires. I felt sorry for Footscray. They got heaps of free kicks not given. And but there were some weird decisions.
Very strange decisions last night.
It's hard being an umpire.
What's been happening overnight, Dominic?
Well, overnight, the Dow Jones Industrial Average put on 32 points to 41,985, whilst the Nasdaq rose 92 points to 17,784, and the S&P 500 put on 5 points to close the session at 5,568. Across the Atlantic, London's FTSE gave back 55 points to 8,847, with the French, German and Italian bourses all lower. Gold was $22.40 lower. It's still over $3,021 US
an ounce.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
West Texas Minty put on 21 cents to $68.28 US a barrel, and Brent crude fell 12 cents to $72.12 a barrel. And the Aussie dollar fell against the greenback and is currently buying 62.73 US cents, with the ASX 200s by 41 points lower, pointing to a lower start on Monday after Friday's effort, where our market put on 12 points to end the session at 7,931.
Okay, now, you wanted to talk about 5 steps you should take when investing in today's environment.
There's a lot of volatility, and there's the two sort of extreme views, the people who absolutely hate Donald Trump and the people who absolutely love Donald Trump. So you've got Trump derangement syndrome and Trump love syndrome.
Trump derangement syndrome.
Yeah, it's actually an official disease in America, yeah. And Trump love syndrome, which is the other disease. So somewhere in the middle is probably the best place to be.
Yeah.
Anyway, the 5 key steps you should take. Let me put my headphones back on.
Yeah.
It's hard nursing Digby.
Yeah, Digby, what are you doing?
No, it's my fault. When you're in difficult times, there are 5. These are just cornerstone things. Transparency. Don't invest in something you don't understand. It's got to be clear. If someone says to you, don't worry about it later, mate, she'll be right. Well, don't.
No, she won't be right.
No, it could be right, but it's just too risky. So especially in these times, transparency is the number one thing.
Right.
Second thing is diversification. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. I had one lovely lady who had all of her money in one very famous Australian company's deposit. And I'm going, if that company goes broke...
You go broke.
You go broke. So have maybe 5 or 10% in that good company.
Yeah.
So if you've got $1 million, $100,000 per investment is about right.
What,
maybe
10 different things?
At least 10, but don't put them all, because the rate's really high, the interest rate's really high. I'm getting great money. I'm going, look, that's what they said about estate mortgage.
Yeah.
Just remember. So,
that's what they said about Poseidon.
Yes.
Remember that?
Or the tulips.
Yeah.
Anyway, the other thing is if you've got some new money that's coming, if you sold a house or unfortunately being made redundant, or you've had an inheritance, which is even worse, but good for you, not good for the person who passed.
Yeah.
Dollar cost averaging. Now, I gave an example to this lady the other day. She was given some money, and I said, look, if you want me to do it for you, it's about $6,000 to $7,000. If you want to do it yourself, that's fine. But remember one thing, I'll give you this for free. Don't put it all in one go. So what did she do? She rang me up 4 days later, and there's $1.6 million she put straight into the market. I said to her, I told you to do $160,000 a week for 10 weeks.
Yeah.
And she said, but it's burning a hole in my pocket. I'm going, why don't you be patient? So make sure you go in at a little bit at a time, because it's like the doctor or the chemist giving you a bottle of cough mixture.
Yeah.
Take 2 teaspoons at night before you go to bed. Don't drink the whole freaking bottle and then wake up all stoned and worry what's going on. That's what happens. So listen to the prescription.
Okay.
Last one, stick to quality. And if you're going to have, and the 5th thing is, if you're going to have a punt, say a bit of crypto or something like that, limit it to 5%.
Well, wash your mouth out. You hate crypto.
No. I don't hate crypto. I just am worried about Bitcoin because it's controlled by some unknown people. But crypto, look, is a new age asset class, makes a lot of sense. But limit it to 5%. You might like the horses. Put 5% in there, or you might like prestige cars.
Yeah.
Chap the other day's got $700,000 worth of motorbikes.
Has he?
Yeah. So
one of your clients.
Potential, I haven't mentioned his name, so potential client, but he's got 400 here and 300 there, and
bikes.
Yeah, motorbikes. So really interesting. Well, you know, everyone's different.
Yeah, that's true. And what's the last one?
That was the last one.
Oh,
Restrict
was it?
your
Okay.
punts. If you're going to have something that you like,
Yeah.
don't have too much of it. Have maybe 5, because you've got to enjoy life. You've got to have something that you really gives you a benefit other than a financial benefit. So sometimes lifestyle things are great, investments.
So 5% on the punt.
Yeah.
Well, not on the punt, but on motorbikes or
crypto or whatever it is. Or, you know, some people collect stamps, some people collect coins, and whatever it is that you like to collect.
Yeah, I like that theory.
5%.
Yeah. Fantastic. Give us a ring. 133 693. The lines are open. Adam has called that number. Good morning to you, Adam.
Good morning, boys. Hey, Dominic, I've got a bit of a question around how to get money out of a company.
Yep.
I work full-time, but then I've got a consultancy company on the side, which is a PCY Ltd company.
Yep.
I've got about $250,000 sitting there that I've paid the 25% tax on already.
Yep.
But I'm wondering how I can get more money out of the business account without giving this bloody government more tax.
The tax office have got about 155,000 people like you that they are, I won't say raping and pillaging. They're actually going to get their full whack. So when you take the money out, you don't have to pay the difference between your marginal tax rate and the 25% that's already been paid. There is a way of doing it if you've got a spouse or a person in the family that you can employ or make contributions to their super fund. You may be able to, drip feed it out. You won't be able to get the 250,000 out in one hit. Sorry, Adam.
Yeah.
There's just no way. They're onto you like a ton of bricks. So I'm sorry to be
so
the
it's
bearer.
all like a dividend across to my wife or something like that.
Something like that, or if she does work in the business, get her to do legitimate work. Don't make it up. I'm being serious here. You don't want to falsify records, but you know it's an age-old problem because look, I'm a chartered accountant myself, and I love accountants, but it's the easy fix. Put it into a company, make the profit in there, but you really should think about this a bit more before you actually start making the profit. Structure it a bit better. But in your case, the horse is bolted. We can't really do anything about that. You just have the option of drip feeding it out to your wife or to children, or if you've got another entity that you can legitimately claim deductions for services provided to your business. That may be one way of doing it. But basically, you're going to pay the difference. Sorry.
Okay, thank you.
No worries, Adam.
Thanks, Adam. Give us a ring, 133 693. If you call now, you get straight through. We're talking to Dominic Alafaci from collinshouse.com. If you'd like any information from Dominic about retirement or money, Helen has called through. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. How are you?
Good,
Helen.
Good, thanks.
Thank you for taking my call. I was just wondering, I've got a rental property and it hasn't been leased out or for any reason for 12 months. So can I claim my mortgage interest on that, please?
Generally speaking, yes, if the intention of the loan was to buy an investment property for rental purposes, if you'd have to justify why it hasn't been rented out. If it's just perhaps you're pricing it too high or there hasn't been any demand, you'd need to have a reason to justify. But generally speaking, the principle is if you have an expense that's necessarily incurred in gaining assessable income, then you'll be able to claim a deduction. Because you haven't had any assessable income yet, you might have a problem, but I think the tax office is reasonable if you've been acting in good faith and you just haven't had a tenant. You just got the sign up there, and no, it's like having a shop, and you've got the expenses of rent and staff, but you haven't sold a hamburger yet. Well, it is a deduction, and you'll probably have a loss, so you might have a carry forward loss. But look, you need to get taxation advice on that. So if you don't have a good accountant, leave your details off air, Helen, and I'll get someone to ring you.
Helen, how come it hasn't been let?
Repairs. It was rented out, but then it had to have repairs, which were unaffordable at the time, yeah.
Yeah, well, that sounds like it. To me, not being... I don't do tax returns anymore, but to me, that sounds like that's a reasonable basis and you've been acting in good faith. You're just repairing the property in preparation for it to be rented out. So, look, my 99% call on that is you're okay.
Thanks so much. I really appreciate it. Thank
Pleasure.
you.
Good on you, Helen. A friend of a friend has an investment property and he's got two in the one block and his daughter lives in one and he wants to use it as his city pad to live in the other. So there's a tenant in that one because it's been rent out, and she won't leave.
His daughter won't.
No, the daughter's there in the other one.
Okay.
But he wants to live in the same building for when he's in town.
Oh, yeah.
So he can be with his daughter in the same building.
Yeah.
And so she won't go. So it's been a vacant. He won that.
I think I know who you're talking about.
But she's...
Yes.
He still hasn't got his own place.
This is just incredible.
So now
I bet the person pleads, I don't have any money, I don't have any income. And are they paying the rent?
Very poorly.
Yes. I know.
Always late and...
Yeah, I think with the...
It's just not fair.
Well, with the socialist pendulum that swings a bit too far, you want to help people who are in need. You've got to be fair.
Yeah.
People lose their jobs and you've got to give them some rights. But, fair income, if you give them notice and you do everything right as a landlord, there comes a point in time where you want to bloom and kick the pendulum.
Yeah.
You say, look, for goodness sake, I want to be fair. We're not all greedy, money-hungry people. This is my house.
Yeah.
I paid for it.
I own it. What are you doing?
Move out.
That's
but
right.
it is a bit disappointing, and I think I know who you're talking about, actually.
How are your funds going at Collins House? How have they been performing?
Collins House Online has been kicking goals.
Has it?
Yeah, it really is fantastic. I think we marked the ball like, what's his name? Oh, goodness me.
Well, there's a big choice.
No. The guy last night, Darcy.
Luke Darcy's
son.
boy.
Is it Sam Darcy?
Sam?
Is it? I can't remember. But Luke Darcy's son.
Sam.
We're marking the ball like Mr. Darcy. Can I tell you?
He's got glue in his hands.
Oh, he's such a great player,
isn't he?
And everyone loves Footscray. They're my second team.
Yeah.
And but he was out. So we're marking the ball like. If it's Sam Darcy.
Darcy.
It is Sam Darcy.
Sam Darcy.
That's what we're doing at the moment. We're very pleased, good long-term returns between 5 and about 10%, low cost. It's really great.
Quick one from Sue. Good morning.
Hi guys, quick one. We just bought a little unit, 1 bedroom as a holiday place.
Yep.
Do we have to do that vacancy tax thing and write down the days we stay there? We don't rent it out to anybody. We just use it ourselves. As
long as you're staying there and you're not renting it out, I think you have to stay there. There's a minimum period, but yes, you have to make a note of it. And it's got to be at least 1 day a year, I think. But please double check it. I'm a bit rusty on that one, but I think you're on the money, Sue.
On the money. And speaking of money, that's it. That's what it's all about. That's why you're here, Dominic. Dominic Alafacci from collinshouse.com. Lovely to see you, my friend. And
thanks, Darren.
Dogby the Japanese spritz, is he?
Digby the Japanese spits. As in spit. He's having a sleep.
Spits.
He's having a sleep down here.
Dozed off.
See you, Darren.
All the best.